Hello, everybody. I am about to jump on the AC Mike show and do an appearance with him. 609-927-1100 on his radio station, which also carries my show on Sundays, only on Sundays, WOND in South Jersey. So there's that. I'm going to jump on the next couple of minutes. Thank you to everybody that is watching. And hi, this is Frank Morano. I'm jumping on with AC Mike. Morano. Morano. All right, thank you. He said, how do you spell that? So, hey, for anybody that's going to Todd Shapiro's birthday tonight, maybe I'll see you there. I try not to go to a lot of these, these events during the week, but Todd is such a great guy, and he's always so good to me. So, least I could be is be there. So. All right. Hope everybody had a good day. And I hope everybody, well, it's the beginning of my day. It's the morning. I was supposed to go on at 1:30. And so I'm still shaking off the cobwebs. All right. Okay, I'm next. They're just going to commercial. Obviously, we're paying a lot of attention to what's going on with these wildfires in California. I'm looking at these images, and not to repeat everything that I said this morning on the radio, but it just breaks your heart. It's just horrendous. I can't imagine. Shout out to my brother David, my brother-in-law David, who's a member of the LAPD out there and working very hard. And I think I asked him last night or this morning if he wanted to jump on the radio with me. He said not only do all of his clothes smell perpetually like smoke, but in the last 40 hours, he's gotten 2 hours of sleep. Now, that's one police officer. You can imagine how many first responders in California fit that same bill. It's just got to be a nightmare. And that's to say nothing of all the people that have lost their homes in this. It's just awful. And Martin Short, how could Martin Short lose his home? I'm going to use a little entertainer's secret for the old throat, which should help that. Oh, John Paul says, Ottawa loves you. Thank you, John Paul. Glad to hear that Ottawa is still wall-to-wall Frank Morano country. All right, there you go. Feel like a new man now. AC Mike should be logging in a moment so you can see things from his perspective. Christina Riker watching. Happy birthday, Christina. When you guys visit here, we will have a parade for you. Thank you. That's all I'm asking. Yeah, that's spritz, John Paul. That's all it takes. Yeah. David Ball, live broadcast at lunch. Genius. Yeah, it's still breakfast for me. Stacy Marie, please pray for my family. They're in Los Angeles. They're 5 minutes away from the fires. Yeah, I will. I think I mentioned to you on Twitter, Stacy, if they want to call in tonight and give people a perspective on what's going on, I'd certainly love to hear their perspective and know what they've gone through. I thought Mike Thompson, who was on this morning, who's the former program director of a bunch of great radio stations over the years, and the former program director of the Curtis and Lisa Sliwa Show. I thought he did. Mike.
Hello, I'm Mike Huckabee. President Trump has made history. And
yeah, but good luck to them. I just can't imagine. Can't imagine. Now that I'm awake, I'm going to try and see if I can watch any of that Jimmy Carter funeral that's going on. It's such an exclusive for presidents that hang out at these things. And
Frankie!
Hey, let's see what's in my audio on here. Hey, Mike, how are you, man?
Message. A mom and her son were being followed by a man in a parking lot. As he approached their car, she pulled out her Byrna launcher, and the sight of it was enough to make him flee. Byrna gives you the power to protect your family.
Carter's funeral's over. Sorry.
No permits, no background checks, just peace of mind. Visit Byrna.com and use code
John Paul,
10% off.
Franco, or and also called Cheech. But did they say that too in Staten Island? Yes.
And Yonkers
always called me Cheech, and my friend Frank Rapatola, everybody calls him Cheech.
Yes, it's a big win for Speaker Mike Johnson.
Very common.
I endorsed him. Rough day because of the horrible, evil.
My friend Frank and Jimmy, same thing. He calls me Cheech.
Lord knows what suicide mission in Las Vegas. But anyway, Johnson's a good man. I supported him. Trump supported him wholeheartedly. More important.
By the way, if anybody has any ideas of what we should talk about, feel free. Let me know. Because so far, I don't have any ideas.
Say it was about.
Mike's got some ideas. We'll see.
In the afternoon. Wasn't reported out.
Frankie Morano.
Aisha Hasney, or Fox News.
Video file.
Was at 4 o'clock. And that was.
If you didn't get a chance to listen to this morning's podcast,
this is a huge win for.
Look at that. Different look at the dais in D.C.
Agenda.
All these women in the city council.
Mike Johnson went right at it in his speech. Starting with closing the.
So, if you didn't get to hear any of the
and running right
podcast this morning, any of this morning's program, just give a listen. Just type in The Other Side of Midnight on the podcast app. You can hear this morning's show. I thought Lee Fong was super interesting. I thought Dominic Carter was really interesting. I thought that Mike Thompson live from LA was really interesting, and I thought Brian Kilmeade was very funny. He finally responded to the rumors of what Curtis had been saying on the lamb chop front.
So Bert,
check out the podcast if you didn't listen to it yet. By the way, those of you watching on the Real George Wanaka tuning in. Hello, the Real George Wanaka.
Bert.
Retirement 2018 says, I just adore you, Frank. You were definitely not fake. Thank you. The great Joe Franklin said, once, in
this segment, we're going to give water park tickets away, too. Third caller, just take their name. We'll bring them on for about 30 seconds.
Kilmeade was very good this morning, Neil, I must say. And I was glad he finally addressed those lamb chop rumors. Here we go.
Start living. Wait and see. What? You don't want to hear that, folks. Hey, welcome back to the Midday Show. Let it play a little bit there, man. Bert, thanks, man. Nice touch for a young guy here.
Let me know that you guys can hear Mike okay. Can you guys hear him?
Welcome to our frequent guest here on the AC Mike Show, also on
Give me a thumbs up. Everybody watching, please share, like, and comment.
And Frank Morano. Frank A., welcome to the show, my friend.
AC Mike, how are you, brother? Great to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
Thank you for getting up. Sorry I screwed the schedule up. This is what I do. I'm a knucklehead that way. I apologize, but thank you to the missus.
Absolutely. Rachel, came, she woke me up, and the first thing she said was, AC Mike called me. And when she said that, It's like when you think you've overslept in school. This is what I literally have nightmares about. I said, "Oh my God, did I oversleep through the interview?" Because I set my alarm for 1 o'clock, and I sprint out of bed. And she said, "No, you're fine. He just called me to tell you he needs you a little earlier." My goodness, that's quite a reaction. That's the kind of reaction most people have when a household item is on fire.
That's awesome. I mean, I know the feeling. I used to work midnights over at the Atlantic County Public Safety Building, fancy name for the jail. And sometimes I wish I would have slept over, but whatnot. I get what you're saying. Listen, folks, if you're wondering about what Frank's talking, Frank's an overnight host. If some of you are new to the program, 1 to 5 at New York City, and he does a great thing by joining us each week. I know it's in his sleep time with the little Bambino running around as well too. So he's not just getting home.
Yeah, well, exactly. Back in the old days, I might have been, but these days, no. It's I'm just getting up. It's funny. My wife and I saw a very interesting movie. It's a small little independent film. I think it's on Netflix. It's called Tramps. Have you seen it?
No, I haven't.
It's very good. It's in a lot of ways just your typical romantic comedy, but it's kind of funny. It's quirky, great for an independent film. And one of the first scenes in the movie has one of the characters calling from the Atlantic County Jail to say that he can't make the pickup of this briefcase, which sets a whole chain of events into motion. And I was watching this with Rachel, and I point to it. I said, "That's the jail that AC Mike used to work at." That is accurate, right? It was the Atlantic
sure County. Is. What's the name of the movie?
The movie's called Tramps. It's very good. It's quirky. It's fun. It's short. It's on Netflix. Check it out.
We'll definitely check it out. I mean, we're movie buffs, Lisa and I am myself. I love it as well. But definitely we'll check that one out. I don't know how I missed that one, but
I mean, that's really the only scene. Who knows? It could have been just any room anywhere, but that's really the only scene that takes place in Atlantic County. But it's worth checking out. It most of the movie takes place in New York, and those are my two favorite cities, as you know, New York and Atlantic City. So any movie that can have even an homage to both cities, that's right up my alley.
Love it, bro. I appreciate that. Hey, Frankie, man, let's switch gears here a little bit. I mean, I would be remiss if I didn't mention it besides some of the other topics we're going to talk about in our time together, the wildfires. I mean, they're kind of crazy. I spoke to our friend recently, Dave Damiani, last night, and they're getting close to his home out there. He's still okay. He's here in Jersey, but your thoughts on that, Frankie?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what to think beyond shaking my head and burying my head in my hands because it's so sad. They say this is the most destructive fire in history, seeing thousands of people lose their homes, thousands more. Actually 130,000 more under an evacuation order because these wildfires are burning. And people are saying we're not out of the woods yet, that the worst may soon be yet to come. So it's incredibly frightening. It's incredibly sad. I don't know what I don't know what the cause of this is. Some people say there's a speculation that it could have been arson. Some people say it could have been something else. I don't know what it was, but it's just amazing to me that in this day and age, in a city as sophisticated as Los Angeles, that we're not able to figure out what's going on here. Now, I know when Mother Nature gets going and whipping around with the wind and the dry areas, that there's nothing even the greatest technology can do to stop this. But I'm looking at these images, and I have to think there's a better way of dealing with this. And you have a lot of people on the right who want to comment about the mayor's incompetence or the governor's incompetence or their mishandling of this. And I think that's all fair. You have a lot of people on the left that want to talk about how this is evidence of climate change coming home to roost and the devastating effects of climate change. I think that's all fair, but I think it's all fair tomorrow, like after we get these fires under control and after these people's homes stop burning down, let's figure out, one, how to do a better job preventing and fighting these fires in the future. And let's have a discussion about climate change. But I think a lot of the people that are rushing to have that as their first reaction and their first instinct, it strikes me as worrying about, step 7 before dealing with step 1.
I couldn't agree with you more, Frank. I mean, it doesn't need to be politicized. Listen, there may be some responsibility or things that could have been done differently, but let's work on the issue and the present, and that's what's happening. And I was going to touch on that. You said it, and you kind of made me step back. And I don't say this any political wise or whatnot. I just remember. I guess it was earlier this morning. There was a piece I saw, not sure what station it was, but just the fact that the fire hydrant, talking to a volunteer fireman, also a resident of this town, and they were saying, the fire representative, that there wasn't water in the hydrant.
Right.
Yeah, and
Right.
so it's like kind of stuff like that needs to be like why, when, where, how, and how did that happen? But there's a time and a place for that. So I agree with you so much in the sense that, let's get them healthy, let's get them back to work, let's get working, putting this thing out, because it just seems like an inferno just going on, Armageddon.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So fingers crossed and prayers to everybody out there. I mean, you see people like Martin Short who've lost their home, or Billy Crystal. And obviously those guys get a lot of attention because they're famous. But I mean, you think of all the people whose names we'll never know that lost everything. I'd say one of the most emotional moments that I saw on social media yesterday was this guy whose house burned down, all his belongings burned down, and the firefighters were able to save his cat. And, just seeing the reaction of him being able to greet his cat when he lost everything was very moving. And it's a reminder that, we could all have this stuff. I have a room full of books that I'm around now, more books than most people read in a lifetime surround me. And, I put a lot of effort into putting this book collection together, but it could all be gone tomorrow and you'd still be better off than somebody that's lost a loved one.
No, absolutely, and we'll continue to monitor that as we go into the the next hour as well here on the AC Mike Show and beyond. Listen, I want to switch gears a little bit,
Sure.
Frankie. Trump wants Greenland. I mean, and some people laugh at that. Some people don't understand it. There's so many other things to talk about, and there is. But I mean, I kind of get where he's coming from. And not just because it's Donald Trump, but when you go to the underlying causes. But it strikes people a little bit different, and this is what he does.
It's funny. I had a guest on this morning talking about this, Lee Fong, and people can check out the podcast at fmwabc.com. And I asked him about this. And his reaction was kind of what a lot of people's reaction is when this comes up. They're not sure whether or not this is a joke or not,
right,
because a lot of people are not sure whether Trump is serious or whether he's doing some next level trolling. I think when he talks about wanting to make Canada the 51st state, I'm 90% sure that's a joke. The Greenland stuff, I put it maybe 50-50. Now, other presidents have sought Greenland before. Truman wanted to acquire Greenland back in 1946. He offered Denmark $100 million in gold. They turned it down, and instead they sold the Virgin Islands to Woodrow Wilson in 1917. So I don't know if Trump is serious about it. I think he is. I think the location is something that he views as important for American security. And I think maybe even more than that, there's all these rare earths, these materials that China's got so many of that go into our smartphones and our electric cars and everything else, that I think, I think he is serious about it. Once you look in the practicality of how this is going to work, I think it becomes much more difficult. Let's say Denmark says, we're going to sell this to you for $500 million or $1 billion or $500 billion, whatever. I don't know what, territories like Greenland go for. What do you do with all those people that are there? Now, it's only 60,000 people, but all those folks get, Danish style, healthcare and everything. They get universal healthcare and everything. So are we going to continue to subsidize them at the rate that they've been subsidized by the Danish? I don't know. And then how do you say to an American, all right, we're not going to give you universal health care, but we're going to keep doing it for the people that live in Greenland? On a practical level, I think it presents a lot of opportunities, but Trump keeps talking about it. So we'll see. We'll see where it goes. I have no idea.
Good points, and only you could bring stuff up like that, and I appreciate it. And again, that's something we'll monitor. Listen, we got to take a quick break, but I want to put this out there before the break for Frankie's listeners and viewers as well. I got 2 Island Water Park passes that are good for a year.
Oh
You
my!
can call in, so anybody can call in. Our producer will be ready. We're going to take the 3rd caller. No trivia. I'm just going to give them away today. 609-927-1100 Island Water Park Showboat Hotel Resort. 2 passes, 609-927-1100. We'll be right back with Frank Morano.
By the way, that spot, the Island Water Park, it's so much fun. And to get 2 passes that last for a year, if you're ever in Atlantic City, I would take advantage of it, because I went there for Jeffrey Goldstein's. I'll take Mike out of the staging area here. I'll move from stage. I went there for the Bart Blatstein, the owner, was kind enough to host us for Jeffrey Goldstein's bachelor party, and we went to that water park, and it is so much fun. It's really geared more for adults than for children. They have this long slide that you can race down on a mat. They have another long water slide. They have a lazy river that you could, go down in this pool. I'm not that into water parks, honestly, probably because, at this stage of my life, I don't love prancing around without my shirt on because my physique's not where I wish it would be at this time. But that being said, even I had a blast, even I who never engage in swimming or water parks or anything like that. So if you're ever in South Jersey and you want to check out this Island Water Park, I really recommend it. It's 609-927-1100 if you're the 3rd caller, 609-927-1100. John Paul says, if I win the tickets, I will give them to Curtis and his wife. Well, that's very thoughtful, John Paul. I'm not sure how often Curtis doesn't do anything fun. Honestly, all Curtis does is work and do things that are like work, like go on patrol. So I don't know that he would get there. But if you have, it's perfect for maybe a 14-year-old. So if you have a 14-year-old in your life, check it out. It's great for younger kids too, but that's what I see as being sort of the optimal age. Got to pick Carmine up from school at 2:00. I'm looking forward to seeing him. Such a good boy. Kind of thirsty now. I should have gotten water. Again, those of you watching on Facebook, please be so good as to like, comment, and share. We got Steve Kamer watching, the K-Man. Wow, great guy. And has become a good friend in a short amount of time. David Ball checking in. Mike Lizzie, Frank Valenzuela. Roman Roskowinski. Albert Matassi. That reminds me, I owe my friend Al Durrell a call. I'll call him back on the way in today. I'm not trying to sound like a big shot, but I owe my friend Obie Murray a call also, and my friend Nick Barbaro. I'm getting these calls at a rate that's much faster than I can return them. So if that's you, so be it. I'll get to you. Catching up on my text messages now. John Paul, Frank, does Dominic Carter have to drive in twice per day to the station to host the show? That a lot of parking fees. Well, I'll just say, I don't know if you're talking about the congestion pricing or the price of, say, a parking lot, but you only have to pay the congestion pricing fee once a day. I mean, once a day is bad enough. And usually at the time that we come in at night, you could find parking right in front of our building.
Bring Charles right on.
Man, that
Meet
Bruce
me
Springsteen
tonight in
song, I love it.
Atlantic City. Hey, folks, welcome back to the AC Mike Show. Listen, we got real quick Frank Morano online. Charles from Galloway. Charles from Galloway, welcome to the AC Mike Show. Charles, you there? Hey, Charles, I've recognized that voice. How are you, my friend? I'm sorry to hear that, man. I do miss you, my friend. Yo, that's what I heard. That's what I heard. Hey, listen, Charlie, we got to talk off air. I want to catch up with you, but you have the 2 water park passes. We're going to put them in an envelope. You got to come to the studio and get them. And Miss Vanessa will be up front there. And then you and I can talk a little bit off air. Nice hearing your voice, my man. It's 1601 New Road, Linwood. Make sure you put Linwood. All right, brother. You got it. I'll be talking to you, man. Nice hearing from you. And thanks for calling, man. Enjoy the water park. Hey, Frankie, real quick, I want to jump on. I know we got to get more time together.
Yeah.
Here we are. One of the things that we hear all the time, whether it's social media, Facebook, big to do when it comes to elections or bullying or whatever it may be. First of all, what do you feel about with all the talks with the bowing down and coming to visit? Smart, I say, for some of those the guys and gals that are running it, and then also the policies seem to change on us.
Yeah, I don't know what to make of it, honestly. I agree with you that it is smart.
Frankie.
Oh, sorry. How about now? Can you hear me now? Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me? My phone crapped out on me. Can you hear me? How about now?
We got it now. Yep, you're good.
Oh, see, that wasn't me. That was you guys.
That probably was. It's okay.
You know, when I called in, I said, "Oh, it's Frank Morano. I'm going on with AC Mike." He said, "All right, Frank, how do you spell that?" And so I think there's an anti-Frank conspiracy to silence me here. I think that's what that was about. But I agree with you. I think it is smart. I'm eager to see where it goes. I think it is a smart thing to do.
Yeah, definitely. Listen, and I could have been a contender, should have been a contender. Biden says he would have, could have, should have won. What are your thoughts about that?
You know, look, I don't want to be disrespectful because I
don't mean to be that way.
You know, I didn't vote for President Biden, but I'm not one of these guys that thinks he's a bad guy or that he's evil or anything. I think he's, a typical politician. But I don't know what planet this guy is living on to think that he would have won this election. I mean, if anybody doubts that President Biden is delusional, you need only to look at this. Trump might have won 3 more states if Biden was the nominee. He was ridiculous in that debate. And, if you look at him since then, the thing that's clear is that there's no way that he could have served. I don't know how in the world, even with a healthy politician-sized ego, that he could think that he would have won the election. And if he's saying that Harris is such a bad candidate that, that he would have done better than she was, well, then why did you make her the hand-picked candidate without any sort of contest whatsoever? I think it's delusional, quite frankly.
That's that Monday morning quarterback and on your own subject or your own game or whatnot.
Exactly.
It's not even us talking heads talking about it. But listen, that being said, hey, do what he's got to. Listen, talking about the president, passing of President Carter. Let's touch on that a little bit. We got a few minutes. Your thoughts, maybe not the most popular president during his presidency, depending on where you're at and what you do and how you read history, but someone who gave quite a lot in the public service area. And
yeah, no question about it. Look, I don't think anybody on the left or the right is going to put a new spot on Mount Rushmore for Jimmy Carter anytime soon. But there are a couple of things that you have to appreciate. One, the fact that there was no major corruption scandals in his administration, which is something that most of the administrations, Democrat and Republican, can't really say. Second, even his harshest detractors you have to give him credit for the Camp David Accords. That really paved the way for peace between Egypt and Israel, the ramifications of which we're still dealing with today. I mean, you can imagine how precarious the Middle East situation would be today if there were no Camp David Accords and Israel was perpetually looking over their shoulder to worry about being invaded by Egypt again. I think that he just exuded decency and a love of service. Almost every other former president, they used their former presidency as an opportunity to cash in, to do speeches for, $500,000 before this corporation and that corporation. And Jimmy Carter didn't do that. He spent his time, building houses and curing diseases in places around the planet that I couldn't even pronounce. So he dedicated his whole life to serving others. He seems, even if he wasn't a great president, like a great man. And, condolences to everybody that knew him and to certainly to his family.
Absolutely. Listen, the peanut farmer, he did well in the way of people and public service. Real quick, congestion pricing. We got about 2 minutes, Frankie. I couldn't not talk about it, and I know you probably need more time, but go ahead, man. You're killing us.
It's an embarrassment. It's an embarrassment. I'm getting whacked with this congestion pricing fee, and I drive in at night. It's even worse during the day. This is a regressive tax on middle class and working class drivers. And it was so deceptive the way that Governor Hochul did it. She paused it right before the election, said, don't worry, we're not going to implement it. And then the election happens. And then, oh, you know what? We're actually going to go forward with it. It's horrible. It's one of the things that I'm hoping President Trump is able to undo.
I hope so as well. Frankie, we got to go. Listen, I want to let you know I just got my Stockton Comcast University TV show dates. I'm going to be reaching out to you. We're going to do something there as well. Let folks know where they can find you and your work, my friend.
Hey, you can check out the podcast right now. Just go to fmwabc.com or search The Other Side of Midnight on any podcast app.
Love you, Frankie. Tell hi to the family. Be well, New York City in the hizzy. We'll be right back, folks. Frank Morano, make sure you check him out.
Thanks, Mike. Take care. All right. So that is that. I don't have much else to say at the moment. Anybody else have any comments, questions, thoughts? Feel free. Otherwise, I am going to get on with my day and get something to drink, maybe some tea, maybe some breakfast. We'll see. Okay. Thank you to everybody that watched. For those of you who this populates their feed a little bit later, please share this video. Please, if you're watching on Facebook, please send some stars my way. And if you're watching on Facebook, please consider becoming a subscriber. 99 cents a month, best 99 cents a month you're ever going to spend. That's a promise. In terms of the Tonight Show, Fred Rubino on tonight's show as well. That'll be fun. We're going to get Doug McIntyre, formerly the host of Red Eye Radio, when it was good. He's going to join me from LA to give an update on these wildfires. And what else do we have? I'm not sure what else. Denunciations. So that'll be good. All right. I'll see you on the radio.